Sarah, I did something ridiculous before my last online interview.
How ridiculous.
I cleaned my desk, tested my microphone 3 times, and placed a glass of water beside my laptop.
That sounds organized, not ridiculous.
Then the interviewer asked one question I hadn't prepared for, and every useful word left my head. My desk was ready. I wasn't.
At least the water looked confident.
Very confident. It sat calmly while I stared at the screen, trying to remember what I'd done at work for 3 years.
Did the answer come back later?
Of course, 5 minutes after the call, I had a beautiful answer. During it, I had silence and a worried face.
I know that feeling. I used to speak too quickly because even 2 seconds of silence felt dangerous.
So you rushed, and I froze.
2 reactions to the same fear. In both cases, one sentence creates room. Let me take a moment to think.
That is what I finally said.
And that's the part of interview English people rarely practice: how to pause, find a real example, and keep going when the question changes.
I'm Alex.
And I'm Sarah. This is the Easy English podcast from English Life Channel.
Let me show you what happened after that silence.
What was the question?
The interviewer said, "Tell me about a time a plan changed suddenly at work. What did you do?"
A normal interview question, but difficult when you weren't expecting it.
Yes, I had prepared an introduction and researched the company. I had not prepared for a changing plan. I thought, this has happened. Why can't I find one example?
What did you do physically?
First, I looked at my water as if it might answer for me.
It had been so confident until then.
Completely unhelpful. Then I put both feet on the floor, took one slow breath, and said, "Let me take a moment to think."
How did the interviewer react?
She nodded and waited. No alarm, no disappointed face. She just waited.
A thinking pause often feels longer to the speaker than it does to the listener.
It gave me enough time to repeat the key idea silently. A plan changed. Then I remembered a Friday when one of my coworkers became ill just before a busy afternoon.
There was your example.
I explained that our support queue was full, so I separated urgent requests from those that could wait. I took urgent calls, a coworker handled account questions, and we updated customers who might receive a late reply.
What was the result?
We didn't answer everything immediately, but urgent problems were solved and customers received updates. The interviewer then asked how I had chosen the priorities.
She was listening to your example, not counting the seconds before you started.
The pause had felt like failure, but it helped me give a real answer.
Don't fight a blank mind with random words. Create a little space.
What should I do inside that space?
Use a calm thinking phrase, find the main idea, and choose one connected moment.
Phrase, key idea, real moment.
Try saying this slowly. Let me take a moment to think. It creates time without sounding like an apology.
And if I understand the words but not the kind of example they want?
Let's test that. Tell me about a time you handled a difficult change.
Could you say a little more about what kind of change you mean?
A change requested by a customer.
Now I know where to look. I'm not asking for an easier question. I'm identifying the right experience.
Exactly. If you simply didn't hear part of the question, say, "Could you repeat the last part?" During an online interview, you can say, "The audio cut out for a moment. Could you repeat that?"
Better than confidently answering a question nobody asked.
Much better. A pause or clarification helps you begin the right answer, but it only gives you time. You still need an experience to retrieve.
So how do I prepare without memorizing 10 long answers?
You prepare a small bank of evidence.
Evidence sounds serious. Am I bringing documents and witnesses?
No witnesses. Just a few real moments showing how you respond to problems.
What kind of moments?
Choose a changed plan, a solved problem, and a repaired mistake. Those moments can answer many questions.
Even if the moments feel ordinary?
Especially then, interviewers need evidence of how you work, not a dramatic rescue.
Did you ever have to use an ordinary experience that didn't seem impressive at first?
Yes, I once applied for an operations position after working in hospitality. The advertisement mentioned scheduling and solving daily problems. I thought, they want office experience, my background doesn't count.
But hospitality includes both of those things too.
I only saw the titles, shift supervisor and operations coordinator. They looked far apart.
What helped you connect them?
I printed the advertisement and underlined the actions, not the title. I asked, when have I scheduled people? When have I resolved a difficult situation?
Did a specific moment come to you?
We were preparing breakfast for a business event when 2 team members called in sick. I stood near the service desk holding the schedule and a list of guest requests.
That sounds like a bad morning.
I moved one experienced employee to the busiest area, asked another to begin earlier, and took the guest desk myself. I warned the organizer that service might start slightly slower.
And how did it end?
We started only a few minutes late and guests received what they needed. In the interview, I said, a relevant example is a morning when our staffing plan changed before a large event.
That sentence tells the interviewer why the story belongs in the answer.
Yes, I wasn't asking them to guess how hospitality connected to operations. I made the connection clear.
Did it change the interview?
The recruiter stopped focusing on my title and asked how I had communicated the changes.
So the experience was valuable before the interview. You just hadn't named its value.
Useful experience hides inside ordinary days, calming a customer, training a coworker, fixing a delivery, or managing a busy schedule.
How do I turn those moments into an evidence bank?
Write 4 notes for each moment: the situation, problem, action, and result.
Not a full paragraph?
No. Short notes keep your language flexible. Think of one ordinary work problem you solved last month. What happened? What did you do? And what changed?
A specific afternoon already comes to mind. Busy Friday. Coworker became ill. I separated urgent requests, updated customers, and handled the priorities.
Now connect that result to the job you want.
That experience taught me how to stay organized when priorities change.
Now I can hear evidence of teamwork, communication, and changing priorities in one short example.
But what if the interviewer asks about a system I genuinely haven't used?
Compare 2 answers. First, I haven't used that system.
Honest, but the conversation stops there.
Second, although I haven't used that exact system, I learned a similar booking tool through sample cases and early feedback.
That answer gives the interviewer somewhere to continue.
Yes, it combines honesty, related experience, and a clear learning method.
What if there is no similar system?
Choose the closest honest connection. You may have organized requests in a spreadsheet or learned another tool quickly. The connection can be your learning method.
So I don't claim experience I don't have.
Right. You show how you would close the gap.
Career changes create the same problem. The title is new even when the work is familiar.
Suppose someone moves from retail into remote support. They still know how to listen, explain policies, record problems, and help frustrated customers.
Those actions travel with them.
The title shows where they worked. Their answer should show what they can do now. My experience is in retail, but the part most connected to this role is helping customers understand their options.
No apology for the whole resume.
Please don't apologize for your resume. It has been through enough.
Mine already looks nervous.
A gap uses the same principle. Explain the necessary fact, then show your readiness now. Let's switch roles. Ask me about 1.
I noticed several months without full-time work. Could you explain that?
I took several months away while relocating. During that time, I completed a customer service course. I'm now ready to return to full-time work.
Brief, honest, and forward-looking.
You control how much private detail you share.
Limited experience is uncomfortable, but I think another question is even harder.
The mistake question?
The mistake question. I used to think the safest answer was, I can't remember making a serious mistake.
And did you believe that answer?
Not for 1 second.
The interviewer probably wouldn't either.
An interviewer once asked me about a mistake. I immediately remembered one, then wished I had remembered nothing.
What happened?
In a previous job, I emailed a client a price document. About 15 minutes later, I noticed that I had attached an older version.
That is the kind of moment that makes your stomach drop.
I pressed my thumb against my resume and thought, they'll only hear that I sent the wrong file. But it had a clear repair, so I told it. I called the client, apologized, sent the correct document, and informed my manager.
What changed afterward?
I added dates to every file name and separated old versions. Our team later used the same system.
That answer shows more than the mistake.
The mistake was only the beginning. The important part was what I did next.
And what you changed so it was less likely to happen again.
I ended with, what I learned was to check the correct file version before sending anything, even on a busy day.
Now the answer shows ownership, repair, prevention, and learning.
What if the interviewer asks, why didn't you notice the old file before sending it?
That's where an honest answer can suddenly become defensive. What would you say?
I was moving quickly and trusted the file name without opening the attachment. That was my responsibility, so I changed both the naming system and my final check.
Now you've explained the cause without turning it into an excuse.
How long should the complete answer be?
45 to 90 seconds is usually enough. The interviewer can ask for more.
So I don't need my complete inbox history or an investigation into everybody else's failure.
Exactly. Give the necessary context, own your action, and move forward.
What's a good way to practice this without sounding rehearsed?
Record one voice note. Then ask, did I explain my action, the result, and what changed afterward?
And then record it again, but not word for word.
Right. Keep the facts stable and let the sentences move.
Honest answers about mistakes are difficult. Practical questions can be uncomfortable too, especially salary.
I once received that question during a phone screening while I was eating lunch.
Perfect timing.
Completely perfect. My lunch was beside me, my notes were in another room, and the recruiter asked, "What salary are you expecting?"
What did you want to say?
The nervous part of me wanted to give the first number that entered my head. Another part wanted to say, "Anything is fine," just to keep the conversation pleasant.
Neither response gives you much room.
No. I closed the door, moved my lunch aside, and said, "Could you tell me the salary range planned for this role?"
Did the recruiter answer?
She gave me a range and explained that the final amount depended on experience. That allowed me to respond using real information instead of panic.
What if the interviewer asks you to give your range first?
Prepare one before the call. Research comparable roles in your location and industry. Consider your experience and decide what range you can discuss honestly. Then you can state it calmly and remain open to learning about the full responsibilities and benefits.
So preparation matters, but we don't need to invent a number during the conversation.
Exactly. The same is true for availability. Don't promise to start tomorrow if you have a notice period or responsibilities you must arrange.
What sounds professional?
My earliest realistic start date would be the 15th, after I complete my current notice period. If needed, I'm happy to discuss the schedule.
Clear without sounding inflexible.
And accurate. A promise you cannot keep is not a strong beginning to a working relationship.
That makes the interview feel more like a real decision.
It is a real decision for both sides.
I learned that a little late in one of my earlier jobs.
What happened?
I was so focused on receiving an offer that I asked almost nothing about the weekly schedule. During my first week, I opened the work schedule on my phone and saw regular weekend responsibilities I hadn't expected.
Were weekends impossible for you?
Not always, but I already had family commitments on 2 weekends each month. I remember comparing the work schedule with my calendar and thinking, why didn't I ask how often this happens?
Why didn't you?
I thought questions about schedules or feedback might make me look difficult. I wanted to appear easy to hire.
But avoiding the question didn't remove the responsibility.
Exactly. It only delayed the conversation until both sides had less flexibility.
What do you ask now?
What would success look like after 3 months? And if work outside regular hours matters, I ask how often it happens and how the schedule is planned.
Those questions help you make a real decision. They aren't tricks designed to impress someone.
And I listen because the answers affect my decision.
Choose two that truly matter. Your 12-page notebook can remain closed.
Probably safer.
Now, let's see whether you can ask those questions after a real interview conversation.
I knew this moment was coming.
I'll be the hiring manager for a customer operations coordinator role. You have experience in customer support, but you haven't used our exact ticketing system.
That feels uncomfortably realistic.
Good. Ready?
Ready enough.
Alex, thank you for joining me today. What interested you in this customer operations position?
Thank you for meeting with me. The role combines customer communication with organizing daily requests. I enjoy solving customer problems, and I also want to improve the process behind those conversations.
Your current position already includes customer problems. Why are you considering a change?
I've learned a lot there, but my responsibilities have become fairly fixed. I'm looking for a role where I can take more ownership of the systems behind customer service.
What would greater ownership look like to you?
Helping the team notice repeated problems, test practical improvements, and measure whether those changes actually help customers.
Can you give me an example of a process you improved?
A relevant example is how we handled repeated delivery questions. Customers were receiving different updates, so I created a shared note showing the latest status and customer contact. It reduced repeated work and made our information more consistent.
How did you encourage your coworkers to use it?
I showed how it saved time and asked what information they wanted added. Their suggestions turned it into a team tool.
Can you summarize the result in one sentence?
I created one shared update system that reduced repeated work and gave customers more consistent information.
This role often involves competing priorities. How do you manage them?
Could you say a little more about competing priorities? Do you mean several urgent customers or a mix of customer work and office tasks?
Let's say 3 customers need help, while a report is due that afternoon.
Let me take a moment to think. I would first check for deadlines, payment problems, or loss of service. I would handle or assign those cases, update the other customers, and protect time for the report. If the timing looked impossible, I would tell my manager early.
Tell me about a disagreement with a coworker.
A coworker and I disagreed about when to contact customers during a delivery delay. I wanted to update them immediately. He wanted to wait for a confirmed date. We agreed to send one message explaining what we knew and when the next update would come. It reduced confusion and became our usual approach.
What helped you reach that agreement?
I asked what problem he was trying to avoid. Once I understood that he was worried about confusing customers, we could design the message together.
What would you have done if he still disagreed?
If the decision affected customers or a deadline, I would present both options fairly to our supervisor and follow the final decision without turning it into a personal argument.
Our team uses a ticketing system you haven't worked with. How would you approach learning it?
Although I haven't used that exact system, I have used a shared platform to record requests and follow-up tasks. I learn new tools through sample cases, short notes, and early feedback. I would also study your team's rules instead of assuming every system works alike.
You mentioned asking for feedback. Tell me about feedback that was difficult to hear.
I'm sorry. I had 2 examples in mind and mixed them together.
Take your time.
Thank you. Let me restart. A manager once said my customer notes were accurate, but too long. I felt defensive, then asked her to show me an effective example. I began putting the required action first and details below it. My notes became shorter, and handovers became faster.
How did you know the change was working?
Coworkers stopped asking what they needed to do next, and my manager noticed the improvement.
If you joined us, what would you focus on during your first month?
First, I would learn the main customer problems, understand the team's workflow, and become comfortable with the ticketing system. I would suggest changes only after understanding why the current process works as it does.
Why wait before suggesting improvements?
Because a quick solution can create a new problem when you haven't understood the full situation.
Thank you. I also want to discuss practical details. What salary are you expecting?
Could you tell me the salary range planned for this role? I'd like to consider the full responsibilities and make sure my expectations are aligned with yours.
The role falls within the range described in our job advertisement, with some flexibility based on experience.
Thank you. My prepared range is within that area, so I'd be comfortable discussing a specific figure after reviewing the salary, benefits, and responsibilities.
When could you begin?
My earliest realistic start date would be 3 weeks after accepting an offer because I need to complete my current notice period.
That should be workable. Do you have any questions for me?
Yes. What would success look like after 3 months in this position?
We would expect the new coordinator to handle the main customer queue independently, keep accurate records, and identify one small process improvement.
That's helpful. How does the team usually share feedback during those first 3 months?
There is a short weekly meeting with the supervisor and a longer review at the end of each month.
Thank you. That answers my main questions.
And we're out of the interview.
I survived, including a question we never prepared word for word.
You also stumbled during the feedback question.
I did. I started the wrong example, admitted it, and restarted.
Did that destroy the interview?
No, the conversation kept moving.
That's important. A realistic mock interview should not sound like two machines exchanging perfect paragraphs. You paused, clarified one question, shortened one story, and responded to follow-ups.
The follow-ups changed what I said, but the evidence stayed real.
And because you knew the events, you didn't need to remember an exact script.
I can feel the difference. Memorizing makes me protect the sentence. Evidence helps me answer the person.
Before we leave the mock interview, which sentence gave you thinking time?
Let me take a moment to think.
Which one helped when the question was too broad?
Could you say a little more about what you mean?
Which phrase introduced your evidence?
I began with, "A relevant example is," and then described the experience.
And which one admitted a gap without ending the answer?
I began with, "Although I haven't used that exact system, I have," and then added my related experience.
Those phrases worked because you connected them to real experiences instead of leaving them alone.
So choose one interview question now. Imagine that Sarah has just asked it.
If the question is about change, begin with your thinking phrase. Then introduce one relevant example and describe what you did.
Say it once using your own experience. Take more time if you need it.
One honest answer is enough for now.
At the beginning, I had a perfectly prepared desk and no available words.
The water still performed very well.
But now you know that preparation means more than arranging objects or memorizing speeches. It means knowing your evidence, having language for a pause, and understanding what you need to learn from the employer.
Before your next interview, choose one real work moment and record a short voice note about it. Keep the facts clear, then tell it again using different words.
In the comments, tell us which real moment you could use in an interview, a plan you changed, a problem you solved, or a mistake you repaired.
If this conversation helped you feel more prepared, subscribe to English Life channel for more practical English conversations.
Your next answer does not have to arrive instantly. Give yourself a moment, choose something real, and let the conversation continue. Trust that a thoughtful pause can still be part of a strong answer.
Thanks for spending this time with us.
Take care, and we'll talk again soon.